Here's your host, Chelsea Edwards.
Welcome to another episode of Chattin with Chelsea. I'm your daytime bestie, Chelsea Edwards. Today we are chatting about the true cost of education. And yes, it goes way beyond school supplies. And while we're getting those kids ready for back to school, we want to get you ready as well. We've got a couple of financial tips that will help the whole family succeed. But first, we are diving into an incredible stage production. I recently caught this over at Match Theater. Such powerful acting in this one. This is inspired by the first Black teacher at an all-white Texas high school put in 1967. But Challenging Brown is also sparking important conversations with today's students, parents, and educators. Welcome to Chattin' with Chelsea, Executive Director Denise O'Neil, and playwright all the way from Beverly Hills, California. We got Cris Eli Blak in the building. Thank you all for coming on Chat with Chelsea.
Thank you.
Now, in a time where some people might say, oh, I'm tired of talking about race and all these problems, why would you say Challenging Brown is needed?
Well, it speaks about resilience, and getting through the job that you've been given, regardless of oppression that you have, understanding that there's goodwill and there's a mission behind the things that you're doing. And so, this particular character has a really tough time getting through a lot of oppression, but he was resilient, and he sees the big vision and the big picture later on about, the groundwork that he's laying. He's a pioneer in his own right. And so we're so proud of the product and happy to bring this to our community. I think they're gonna love it. Mm-hmm. We can't wait to see it when it's done. We're in tech right now, so we're excited about it.
Yes. Cris.
I think that people aren't tired about talking about race. They're tired of being talked at. And I think that it always feels like someone is telling us how we're supposed to feel about our own community, about our own culture, about the good things and the bad things that happen every single day in this country. And I think what this show does, and what I try to do in all of my work, is not to talk at you, but to give you the human perspective of it. So this isn't characters standing on a stage saying, feel this way, this is how we feel. These are characters who are living their lives in front of you, and they just happen to live in this time period. They just happen to be struggling with these things. They just happen to have been born, like all three of us right now, with brown skin. And they don't have a choice but to deal with that and be resilient and be hopeful, but also fight and struggle every single day like we all do.
Love that perspective. Now, what made you want to reach back into this particular time period to write this play?
So the play takes place in 1967, and I think the very interesting thing is, yes, the actors have on period clothing, and we say it's in the 60s, but if you change them into, a pair of Jordans and a cap and a t-shirt and say it's 2026, I wouldn't have to change many lines. And I think that that's what's most impactful and important to me, is that it's a story about yesterday, but yesterday is just reborn as today. Right. And I think a lot of what the play tackles is that history doesn't repeat itself, it just goes on. And the things we're dealing with and talking about today, the things I see on my Instagram feed are the same things that my grandparents were seeing in the newspapers when they were my age.
Yes, they just weren't getting it right in their hands,
exactly,
like all day long.
Right.
Yes. Denise, I know we're going to talk about some takeaways for educators and parents, but what do you hope people walk away with after seeing this production?
Well, I hope that they, if you've been a follower of Fade to Black, we've been around for almost 2 decades, and we are branching out. We're doing new things. I want them to see that measure of growth for us, and also, that sometimes we are brave enough to put out amazing work. Some people are like, I don't want to talk about that, but we're going to put it up in your face because it deserves a platform. It deserves to be seen. It's great work, and we're not wanting to hide any of that. So we want our audience to enjoy the new direction that we're taking. We normally do 10-minute play festivals, and so this is a full-length product that we're doing, and we'll be doing more of those next year. So this is, kind of continuation of a new way of serving our community.
Nice. Denise said, get comfortable. We're going to be here for a while. We're going to learn some things.
Yes.
Chris,
yes.
Did you see yourself in any of the characters that you wrote in this play?
I mean, it's kind of my job to see myself in all of them, you know, the good and the bad. And I think every single character, I kind of drop 5% of myself into them. Again, because I'm writing about humans, and the only way I can really know I'm being authentic and genuine to that is if I'm kind of exposing myself and being vulnerable and putting my best and worst qualities in them.
Yeah. Well, I can't wait to see more. We got to take a quick commercial break, though, and then when we come back, we are going to take some lessons from Challenging Brown, give them right to you, so you can make sure you see the production and have some great conversations with your kids. We'll be right back after this. Welcome back. We know that education is about way more than textbooks, and the production Challenging Brown is reminding us of that. It's about courage and challenging the status quo when we need to. And now you do have some things that if an educator comes to this production, you want them to walk away with some things. So I will say one of the things that stood out to me from this is the idea of making sure that every student feels like they belong. Let's talk a little bit more about that, because that can be challenging when you have so many different personalities, and then depending on where you are, how diverse that classroom may be. And Denise, you work with a lot of educators.
Yes, tons of educators on my board who I love dearly, and they give me a different perspective on life. You know, I always know what life is like from the eyes of an educator, because it a lot of times it runs the schedules that we book. We can't do certain things because all the teachers are going to be gone. So I'm very familiar with that. But yeah, you know, from my relationship with them, I have learned a lot for personal development of myself. You know, and in this play, I think that it's going to teach teachers and parents to instill braveness in their child at the proper time, you know, and if it's a situation where you've got rights and you have a lot of oppression, you know, sometimes you have to be very brave, where sometimes we're taught you just don't say anything, just, you know, let it move on. After a while, you have to stand up for yourself. But how do you do it? In what way do you do it? Teachers are really good at that. They figure out the way to penetrate the ignorance and get the message through to their child. I think that's the same thing that's happened with parents. I don't have any kids, but I have nephews and nieces, you know, and so as an aunt, you know, I'm caught in between letting them find their own voice and then saying to them, you know, this is a difficult conversation for me to have, but I love you and I'm going to make sure you understand my position on that. And if you're ever in a position or a place where I'm not there, you know, we have instilled in you pride in who you are. And if anyone challenges that, remember, hey, I am a strong Black person. I have every right to do this, that, and the other. You know, I can be who I want to be. So all of that, I think, starts when they're not so much young, but impressionable. And they respect you enough to listen to what you have to say. So.
I mean, you would have to tailor those conversations depending on the age. I started early with my son, and right now it's very simple, but it is important to instill that pride so that if something does happen, he is able to speak up for himself.
Absolutely.
I mean, these are conversations that are tough, not just for parents, but like educators too. Chris, how important is it to make space for these conversations?
I think it's super important. I think it's super important to, one, touch on education, because the definition of education means so many different things now than it did at a time. I think that, you know, we have places in this country that are literally stripping pages out of textbooks and erasing history. And in a lot of ways, our history is the only roadmap we have to know where to go next. So I think it's really important, and I think my biggest desire is for people to come to the show, yes, and enjoy the show, yes, but to talk about the themes and the subject matter of the show afterwards. And a big theme in the show and a line in the show is actually, you know, this whole textbook and we get a paragraph. And so it's also our responsibility to, yes, listen in school, yes, consume as much knowledge within those institutions as we can, but also once you go out of that building, do your own research and talk to people and learn things about your history and your culture and learn how to continue carrying the torch that our ancestors, you know, laid down for us.
Right.
Yeah. So this play, we're giving it the unofficial rating of PG-13.
Sure.
So even if your kids cannot come with you, you do want them to take away. Like, let's continue the conversation. Like, hey, I just saw this amazing production and made me think of this, instead of just like, hey, what'd you do with the babysitter today? You really want want parents to be comfortable, like expanding those conversations and easing into, some of these things are difficult.
100%. And don't underestimate the child's ability to grasp that, because they're going to learn about it anyway. They're going to have to face it head on anyway. Anyone who has a phone knows about it. Like, it's already out there. So we might as well talk about it and be transparent about it. And yeah.
And then also when it comes to teachers, it might be a challenge for them to also make history alive. I'll say, like, this isn't just something from the past, but this is something that we're dealing with today. Yeah. And for kids to relate to that, like, what are your suggestions when it comes to bringing that history in today? And then also, like, some of this stuff was not that long ago.
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah. So
it was a lot of red tape then, a lot of red tape now. I don't know that I can be an educator like my board members are. They're fabulous. I educate in a certain different kind of way, but hats off to them for making such beautiful lives, developing and creating such beautiful, strong people. And we need that. So, but yeah, in that time, I think it was more blatant. They were very clear about, we don't want you here, and we think you're second class, and we as a people still had to do the work. We had to still be eloquent. We still had to stand up for our rights and continue forward fighting. And that was not something that everybody wanted at that point. So we have a different kind of oppression now, and we still have to push forward. So.
Well, we certainly appreciate y'all continuing that work. Cris, any final thoughts for parents, educators, whoever may be coming out to the show?
Well, first, please come to the show.
Yes.
Come to Challenging Brown, July 17th through August 2nd at Match, Houston. I think just come in as yourselves, come in as people, receive it as humans, receive it as people, and walk out, talk about it, continue talking about it, and
well, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I can't wait to see this whole production. Get comfortable, right?
Yes. I think you're going to love the play. It's an amazing, well-written work. It would not have been on our stage if it was not extraordinary. He went through 3 levels of reading judges before it got to our stage. Wow. So we're extremely proud of him, and we do want everyone to come and see the show.
We love it. Thank you so much. You guys check out Challenging Brown. We are going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we are taking you parents back to school when it comes to that Monday. All right? Keep it here for that. Welcome back. We are not just taking the kids back to school, we're taking you parents too, because we want to make sure that your pockets are ready to provide long-term for the family. So welcome back to Chatting with Chelsea. Mashi Epting, entrepreneur, financial educator, philanthropist, like a little bit of everything. I love a long resume. Welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. So why is it important that we don't just focus on the kids this season, but also like parents?
Well, it's very important because the parents need to be ready, and we need to start promoting financial stability, more opportunity, and think about the long-term success of not just the kid, but the family as a whole.
Yes, we want everybody to be in line.
Yes.
So here's the thing. I thought I was good till I talked to you, and you said, do you know your bank score?
Yes.
And I said, what is that? Because I can be a little obsessed with the credit score thing.
Yes.
But bank score is a whole nother category.
It is, because your bank score is going to determine whether or not you are going to be able to be funded whether or not you're going to qualify for certain accounts. So it's very important. So people just need to take into account like how many overdrafts you've probably had throughout the year, how many insufficient funds, anything when it comes to account closures and bad standing. It's just so much that goes into a bank score, and it's important to know it so that when you do need the banker to give you assistance, maybe help you get approved for a credit card, whether personal or business, or a line of credit, or just even a loan. You want to make sure that your bank score is high so that it's basically your credibility with the bank.
Okay, so this isn't just somebody who owns a business. This is going to affect you in your personal life as well.
Yes, it's for our 9-to-5, our entrepreneurs. It's for any and everyone that has a bank account. It's very important to know it.
Okay, so is this an actual number? Like can we pull this up, or do we have to sit down and calculate? Like, oh, back in '97, I did overdraft 3 times, and then last year I was late on this. Like, how do we figure this out?
So you won't know unless you get a personal relationship with your actual banker. They will sit down and let you know not their really internal score, but where you stand at with the bank when it comes to credibility and funding and lending, things like that.
Okay, so it's something we need to actually walk in.
Yes.
Because people don't do that so much
and develop
anymore.
a relationship with your banker.
Yes.
And that's something that we're going to be bringing to our back to school drive.
Okay.
Yes. So we're going to make sure that we're going to actually have Regents as our community partner. They're going to be there at the back to school drive, making sure these parents are, prepared for their future success. And also, even introducing them to high school checking accounts for their children so they can start learning banking responsibilities early on.
Man, I love that, because you're also prepping the kids. I got to throw that out there.
Yes.
You're doing backpacks, giveaways.
Yes, hygiene products, all type of school supplies. We'll even have light bites for them. We'll have opportunities for, even the parents, they can learn how to possibly open up their own tax business, their credit business, join the life insurance agent, be a licensed life professional. So we're going to have so many opportunities, not only for the children, but for the parents, the whole family.
Yes, like this is a passion of yours,
Yes.
like setting up the whole family for success. Now, back to the bank relationship, because this is something that I have been hearing about. Like, you don't want to just be dealing with, a screen, just random numbers or random customer service agents.
Right.
You actually want to be face to face, because that will help you in other ways as well.
Yes, for an example, I moved here from Louisiana, and my old banker was in Louisiana. But when I got to Texas, they told me like, hey, you need to come in. And they just wanted to put a face to the account. And the first thing they said, wow, we trust you now. They knew me then, but they didn't know me here. And from that trusted relationship, the branch manager called and like, we're coming to the event. We're going to be there at the event. We want the community to know we support you and we support them.
I love that. I love that. A whole relationship. Right?
All I did was went in and introduce myself.
Yeah,
as their client.
It can open up all kinds of doors.
All type of
you didn't even know existed.
Exactly, and so many banks have so many programs to help their clients build their business accounts, financial education, the literacy, everything is there.
I love that.
Yes.
And I also love, starting the youth early. We've chatted about that before.
Yes.
But it is important to go ahead. I mean, it may be something that you want to put on that back to school list. Go ahead and open that account.
Yes, and they're going to be out there with their laptops and equipment, opening up accounts on the spot.
Okay.
Yes.
So how do we make sure that teenager doesn't go crazy with that card?
Oh, we can put spending limits.
Okay.
There are different overdraft protections that you can put on, but the banker's going to let you know all of that. For me, I know when my child was underage, I controlled the account. I was also on the account.
Okay.
I would control the limit of what she can spend, so she couldn't overdraft at all, and I would transfer the money in and out for her.
How do you think that set her up for success?
Well, let's just say when she turned 18 in June, December of that same year, she was able to go into Porsche, get her own car.
What?
Yes.
She's getting a Porsche?
Yes. So she was able to get it without me.
Wow,
yes.
girl.
Because the bank had no problem lending her the money directly to get the car that she wanted because of the relationship.
Had already been established.
It's already been
before she was
established.
18.
Yes.
That just blew my mind. Girl, why, you should have adopted me before I turned 18.
So it's possible, but we don't know.
Yeah.
We don't know.
Get into that relationship.
Yes.
Is there anything else that you want parents to start studying up on when it comes to their own back to school?
Yes, I definitely want them to take advantage of this situation so they can know their bank score along with their credit score and understand how it goes in when it comes to lending and getting funded for their dreams. A lot of parents want to transition and become entrepreneurs but don't have the starting capital, but this is the way. This is the easiest way. Build that relationship.
It could all work together for all the personal and the business goals.
It all works together.
And I love that. Okay, tell us when the event is, what we need to know.
Okay, so the event is going to be Wednesday, August the 5th. It's going to be in Humboldt, Texas at Kizzy Space. You can get the address online on the website at Mashi, M-A-Y-S-H-E, outreach.org, or you can visit the Instagram Mashi Outreach, or even my page at I am Mashi Epting on Instagram.
Yes, we love what you're doing. Thank you for making us aware of these numbers we didn't even know about.
Yes.
Thank you, girl. I'm gonna get it together. All right, yes, we're gonna take a quick break. We'll be right back after this.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. Thank you again to Mashi Epting, and thank you to the cast and crew of Challenging Brown. I highly encourage you guys to go catch that play while you can. It runs until August 2nd. It's also been the winner of a couple of competitions, so it's good, believe me when I tell you. And make sure you keep up with us on YouTube. Be a part of the conversation there, Chatting with Chelsea. Find us and on social, Chelsea Fox 26. And we'll see you on the next Chatting with Chelsea.